Welcome to Data Appreciation with Shino, and we'll be doing a Google Skills Lab titled Troubleshooting Common SQL Errors with BigQuery. So, the code for this Skills Cloud Self-Paced Lab is GSP408. I had done this before, but I'll be doing it again because the lab has been updated 21 days ago. So, BigQuery is a Google fully managed NoOps low-cost analytics database. With BigQuery, you can query terabytes and terabytes of data without having any infrastructure to manage or needing a database administrator. BigQuery uses SQL. You can take advantage of the pay-as-you-go model. BigQuery allows you to focus on analyzing data to find meaningful insights. Now, a newly available e-commerce data set that has millions of Google Analytics records for the Google Merchandise Store has been loaded into BigQuery. So this one link we would like to have in the video description. And also you can see the link to the Google Merchandise Store. So this is the Google Merchandise Store. So e-commerce data set. So I think this falls under the Google BigQuery public data. Now this lab steps you through the logic of troubleshooting queries. It provides activities within the context of a real world scenario. Throughout the lab, you imagine you are working with a new data analyst on your team and they've provided with their queries below to answer some questions. So in this lab, we'll learn the following tasks. We have to pin projects to the BigQuery's resource tree and how to use the BigQuery editor and query validator to identify and troubleshoot SQL syntax and logic errors. So here's our start lab requirements for signing and our task one. So let's go and start. So here we're going to start it now. So sometimes you may have the I'm not a robot prompt when you're starting the lab. So we'll see if that comes up here. Waiting for resources to be evaporated. Okay, so our resources have been evaporated. We'll now go into our cloud console. Remember, let us open our link in incognito mode. Would understand. We agree to the terms of service. So agree and continue. So already we can see our username, our password, and our project ID. So close this for now. So one of the first things we have to do is to pin a project. So in the Google Cloud Console navigation menu, we'll click on BigQuery. Welcome message comes up. I'll click on Done. BigQuery public datasets are not displayed by default. To open a public dataset, we'll copy data to insert and paste it in the dialog box in the next step. So we'll come here, BigQuery. We'll have the welcome message. So wait for it. We click on Done. We'll see our Done here. Then we'll go to the explore, add data, start a project by name. We'll come here and see the explore, add the data. Then down here, you can see start a project by name. Then we paste the project name. So let's copy it again. Then we click on start. Then error starting resource. So we're having a challenge. Let's see if it's nothing like that. So we're not supposed to have an error here. So let's see if it has done it. Okay, it has done it now. Data to start was start. So it has gone through. So data to start is listed in our Explorer. So if you come back to our Explorer section, you can see it here. Data to insight and start. If you click on this, we are starring it, which is evident. Now, for each activity in the following sections, the lab provides queries with common errors for us to troubleshoot. The lab directs you to what to look at and suggests how to correct the syntax and return meaningful results. To follow along with the troubleshooting solution, copy and paste the query into the BigQuery editor. If there are errors, you see a red star exclamation point at the line containing the error and the query validator, which is at the bottom corner. So the query validator is underneath, error will be at the top. So if you run the query errors, the query fails and error is specified in the job information. When the query is error free, you see a green check mark to the query validator. When you see green check mark, click run to run the query to view what you get for results. So we have completed our task 1, so we're going to our task 2 now. Now we're going to find the total number of, so we're going to have a look at this documentation much later, the query syntax. Now we're going to find the total number of customers who went through checkout. Our goal is in this section is to construct a query that gives us the number of unique visitors who successfully went through the checkout process for our website. The data is in the rev underscore transactions table, which is our data analyst team has provided. They've also given us an example of queries to help us get started with analysis. So troubleshoot queries that contain the query validator alias and common errors. So look at the query and answer the following questions. So the query is standard SQL. Select from data insights ecommerce limit is 1000. So what is wrong with the previous query to view 1000 items? By using legacy SQL, no, it says it's standard. We have not specified any columns in the select. Yes, we've not specified, so we must also specify which columns. There is a typo in the table name. So let's see there's a typo in the table name. There's a typo in the dataset name. So from what we're looking at, we had data dash to insights. what's wrong? So I know of this. We have not specified the columns. Typo in the table name, typo in the data set name. So they can only typo in the table name because we don't have access to the data set name yet. So our let's check the one or more of our choices incorrect. So let's see which of our choices should be correct. So this is correct. So there's one more correct answer. So what's wrong with the previous query to view 1000 items? So let's just copy this. Let's go to, let's come here, data to insights. Let's close this. So see, error select must not be empty. Let's just say, so the data to insight may not have permissions to read tables. So I think let us use this VM data set to display. Hmm. So we're supposed to use data inside ecommerce. So we should have access to that. Okay, so we're seeing the challenge. So there's a typo in the data set name. Okay, so it's typo in data set name. So what about this updated query? So standard SQL select all, so which is ties for the all from this data set limit 100. What's wrong with the new previous query to view 1000 items? We're not specify the column select, which is this. Sorry, what's wrong with the new previous query to view 1000? What's wrong with the new? Oh, sorry, I'm mixing it up. There's a typo in the dataset name. Wow. Why are all we're using legacy? Okay, we are using legacy SQL. So legacy SQL is the older SQL. So I haven't used it before. So I'm just getting to know about this. So legacy SQL uses the parenthesis, that's the bracket, instead of this in it. So that's a new one for me today. So what about the query that uses the standard SQL? What is wrong with the previous query? Still no columns defined with the select. Yes. What about now? This query has a column. So select full visitor ID from this. What is wrong with the previous query? What's wrong with the previous query? The page title is missing. No. Without aggregations, limits, or sorting, this query is not insightful. So select this from this. So we have to. So I actually don't need a column alias now. We may need a limit. Let's just see what this is. Okay, so we don't need a limit. That's what it's saying here. So the page title is missing from the columns select without aggregations or limiting or sorting. This query is not insightful. Okay, so we have that now. So what about now? The query has a page title. So from that, select the full restore page title, this page. From this, how many columns would the previous query return? Okay, so how many columns? Two columns, one a column named be a column. So what about now? The missing comma has been recorded. So select full resource ID, hit page title from this. Answer: this returns results, but we are sure visitors aren't counted twice. Also, returning only one row answers the question of how many unique visitors checked out. In the next section, you find a way to aggregate your results. Okay. Okay. Let's see. There's no dataset ID. Okay, so let's go back to troubleshoot queries that contain logic errors, group by statements, and wildcard filters. I get the following query to answer the question: how many unique visitors reached checkout? So visitors, unique visitors we checked out. So let's see. So we're using the actually the e-commerce data. Okay, so let's query this. There's a query. Okay, so the query will run without error. So let's run it. So the results are 1000. So I get the following query to answer the question: how many visitors reached out? What about this aggregation function count was added? So we want to count 20 without a limit. So let's run it without a limit. So the list expression references its page was in that group to aggregated. Let's resolve this with select. Here it says select this references column was media groups not aggregated. Okay, let's see what Cloud says to tell us here. So let's just leave this since we're not using a personal account, we're using a student account. So let's ask Gemini what's so I got this error. I ran this in BigQuery. So to fix this, we need to add the group by. Let's see. Okay. So we need to add the group by. Group by hits page title. So our result is 9. Okay. So so actually was right from what we read. So what's wrong with the previous query? It's missing a group by clause. It's also saying the count function is not the duplicate. Sorry, it's not that. Count function is used when some should be used. So let's see what we use here. The count function does not duplicate. So okay, so I think I mean that the count function does not duplicate. Okay. The next query, group by and the C statements were added. Okay. Is this and the results came as 9. So filter to let's close this for now. Filter to adjust the checker confirmation in the results. So go to filter. Let's create a new. Let's run it. It's 1. Please add a column to the query. Oh, filter to adjust account information. Okay. So here we have the results. So we say how do I filter to adjust the checkout confirmation in the results. So to add a column to the query. Oh, oh, this is where we're supposed to add the column. After the select. Let's see why. So now let's see where I have to change. Add a column to the query. Find the number of customers who went through checkout. See what let's look at it. Having mistake. We want to add a column. Filter to checkout. Filter to just check out information in the results. Let's see where the error is coming from. So let's read what's said here. In this lab, the automated check strictly looks for its page part to be included alongside each page title. To pass the check my update your query to include the each page part, which is what we have here. Is the additional column. So let's go back and check it again. We're getting an algorithm error. Okay. So let's go back here. I think that's the error message we need to resolve now. So in the we only have each page title and producer ID. So let's see. Please add the column to the query. So Check the exact string. If it returns zero rows, try using like to account for any hidden spaces. We're still being asked to add a column to the query. How do we add a column to this query? Let's go back our previous query and see. Let's check on our previous query. So our previous query shows 49 results with checkout confirmation. So next we have to filter to just check our confirmation results, which we did. We just filtered to just here it says where the hit page title is just checkout confirmation. Group by hit page title. Check this out. Run it. So we need an extra column. So we have visitors count, hit page title. What can the extra column be? So if we go to the data set, so I think not a good find data set, but it was available data set e-commerce web transitions. E-commerce web transactions. Okay, so this is where we are. Have source count, full visitors ID, page title. We have full visitors ID. So we have to create an extra column. The extra column that we would create would be query on this. Let's use hit page transaction ID. Checkout. Smart entry checkout. If we use total transactions, let's duplicate this column then.